Assalamu alaikum. This is Megan White with Wives of Jannah answering your questions. So today I have a question and it says, how do you have a happy life with a partner who has a totally different conflict resolution style than you do? I'm someone who wants to talk about things right away or a few hours or a day later to allow for a cooling off period. But my partner completely shuts down and gives me the silent treatment until he's ready to talk. He says that it's because his initial reaction would be way worse due to anger issues. So he needs to get to a point where he can think about the conflict without exploding. Although I understand that this is probably the better alternative, it still leaves me with a lot of hurt when he refuses to talk to me and has to be begged and pleaded to have a conversation. I've addressed this many times and tried to state that we need to find a method of conflict resolution that works for both of us, but it really hasn't changed anything so far. No, we've known each other for 2 years, been engaged for a year, and are due to get married in July. We don't live together, and most of our interactions are over text. I'm wondering if this is a situation that could get better when we live together, or if it'll just become worse and we'll find other ways to avoid dealing with the problem at hand. Sometimes he won't say anything for 2 to 3 days until I keep asking him to talk and he agrees to see me in person. Well, first of all, thank you very much for submitting your question. You are spot on and correct that this is a situation that's going to need a remedy and fast. So on the one hand, it is true that sometimes there is, over text, people can misunderstand each other's tone and what someone's trying to say, which is why in general, I'm a fan of phone calls because a lot of times what can't be solved over text can be quickly solved in a phone conversation or even a video call. I mean, with the cell phones that we have today, right, we have the ability to do FaceTime and all these other Skype and different apps and features that allow people to quickly connect. So there really isn't a need to continue using text, especially when there's tension. That being said, on the one hand, I do really appreciate the fact that your husband understands his own temper, that he needs to calm down, or he may say something that he's going to regret or that's going to hurt you. On the other hand, 2 to 3 days of silent treatment isn't healthy, and it's not something that's going to be productive once you're married. So I'm with you that you got to find another, solution to you guys resolving any kind of conflict. Now, that may get better when you guys are together, when you can actually see each other and touch each other and hear your tones of voice and see each other's eyes, be able to reach out and hold a hand. That may be a solution that just by coming together, it gets a little bit easier to talk about things. On the other hand, like you said, what if it got a little bit worse? What if actually being with him in a place where he can't escape, where he can't just, turn off his phone and disappear is going to create more tension? So I think one of the things that you can let him know is that you really care about resolving conflict quickly and that it does hurt you when he's silent for a few days and that you appreciate that he doesn't want to say something that is hurtful. And at the same time, you're looking for what's a middle way where you can give him some space, but he also has to come and meet you halfway without being, silent for so many days. Another thing you can suggest is that it's okay if he's not ready to talk about the conflict or talk about the tension that you guys are experiencing, but that it's not okay to ignore you entirely. So in other words, you guys may say, look, we're both really upset. Let's just put this discussion on the back burner for now. Let's go on with our day. You still do normal things, you still have conversation, but then, there's an agreed upon time like, hey, we're going to come back and talk about this, where he may need to be the person that says, give me, till tomorrow morning and then we'll talk about it. And you agree to that, but you also get to be the person that says, but we need to still communicate and talk to each other, even if, our feelings are a little bit hurt or things aren't perfect yet. When you live with someone day in and day out, every day is not going to be perfect. There's going to be ups and downs. Of course, you're going to get upset with each other, get on each other's nerves. Life happens, right? But what's not okay is that silent treatment, ignoring each other, complete stonewalling. So consider how you guys can come halfway, having a conversation with him. And if he really feels like, he really genuinely struggles with his anger and his temper that much, that's the part where you may say, well, hey, why don't we do a program together and try to learn about communicating through conflict? Why don't we try to read a book together? Or maybe we can even get some advice from someone that you both respect and look up to and trust that can help you. I can also work with things like that through couples coaching. That's something that, processing anger, sorry, I can't talk. Processing feelings when someone is angry or negative thoughts or negative beliefs or kind of even the story people are telling in their heads, which leads them to be upset. Those are things that can easily be broken down in a conversation when working with couples and coaching. So try an approach of finding that midway where you guys both kind of change the rules a little bit about how you communicate. And inshallah, then if that's not enough, then reach out for some support. Assalamu alaikum.